Chapter 3, Lesson 1, Graphing Equations. The first thing we're going to talk about is plotting ordered pairs on a coordinate graph. When we look at our coordinate system here, a couple things we should talk about is, this is quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is the x-axis. And this is the y-axis. This is the origin right here in the middle, and the origin is 0, 0 for its coordinates. And now remember, anytime we do a coordinates, it's always in alphabetical order, so it's always x comma y. And in quadrant 1, it's always a positive x, positive y. Quadrant 2, it's a negative x and a positive y. Quadrant 3, they're both negative. And quadrant 4, positive x and a negative y. So remember, the first letter, the x, tells you left or right. And the second number, the y, tells you up or down. So in this first section of your homework, you're going to have to plot each of the ordered pairs on your graph. So the first one says -3 for the x, so that would be left 3 and up 2. For B, it's +3, +2. For C, it's 0, so that means don't go left or right, but -4. For D, it's -1, -3. E is -2, -2. F is 1, -3. And G is 2, -2. Oh man, I messed up my 0, 4, didn't I? Didn't count down quite far enough. Nope, did it again. There. And so in this shape, it's kind of a U-shaped parabola with these points. Oh, and here's our quadrants again. I guess I should have looked ahead to make sure, but our quadrants again are first, second, third, fourth, going in counterclockwise direction. The x-axis is labeled, the y-axis is labeled, and how the coordinates are plus, plus, minus, plus, minus, minus, and plus, minus. So it says, use the previous slide for examples and label which quadrant or axis the point is in. So if I go back here, I have -3, +2. For A, we had that over here in quadrant 2. B was in quadrant 1 because they're both positive. C was on the y-axis. D was -, which is quadrant 3. E was -, which is quadrant 3. F is +, which is quadrant 4. And G is +, which is quadrant 4. All right, the next part of your homework you're going to do, I can determine if ordered pairs are solutions to given equations. And how we're going to do that is we're going to substitute in the x and y coordinates and then solve it to see if the equation is true. So in this example here is my equation, y equals 3x minus 5. And my first xy coordinate is 0 for the x and 5 for the y. So I'm going to rewrite this as, instead of y, I'm going to use 5 equals 3 times 0 instead of x minus 5. So that would give me 5 equals -5, which is not true. So this is not a solution. On my second one, I'll have -8 equals 3 times -1 minus 5. And when I put that in my calculator, I get -8 equals -8, which is a solution. So that tells us that this point would lay on that line if we graphed it. The next one is y equals x cubed. So for the first one, I would do 8 equals 2 cubed. And 2 cubed is 8, so that's true. The second one, 9 equals 3 cubed. Well, 3 cubed is 27, so that is not true. So that is not a solution. The next part of your homework, determine if equations are linear An equation is linear if it can be put into the form y equals mx plus b. That is our linear form. So in this equation, I have y minus x equals 8, and in order to get it to linear, I have to get y by itself. So what I would do is I would add x to both sides, and then write it as y equals 1x plus 8. And so that looks like this form up here. So yes, this is linear. Example 2, y is already by itself, and it shows 6x, and I could put plus 0 behind it, and then that would look like this form. So yes, it is linear. Example 3 says y equals absolute value of x. Well, we can't have an absolute value, so that is no. Absolute value graphs, if you remember, actually look like that.